Good morning, good morning, good morning. This is Easter Sunday, and we have to stay at home. Good morning, good morning, good morning. This is got that had to mute my other thing. We have to stay at home. Normally on Sunday, I want to first not necessarily apologize, but most people come to ProTinkerToys.com for toys and things like that. Well, this morning it's a little different, and if you don't want to hear a message, a Bible message, then please just click off and just go about your day that you'd normally. But if you want to hear something inspirational, please stay tuned for the next hour. Because I'm going to be talking about life. What is it? Normally every Sunday I do a Bible study at my church, unorthodox. I do the Bryan's Brain, which is what's in my mind, and I'm going to be doing that at the end. And we get my Sunday school class pretty. They get excited about what I'm going to talk about and how I talk about it, and how I interpret, or not interpret, but my take on the scriptures. And today, since we're at home, we can't go to church. I'm not going to go into that. That's already gotten me upset, but I'm not going to go there today. I'm just going to talk about life. What is it? Or life, what can we do about it? So my name is Bryan Young. You've tuned to ProTinkerToys.com. It's not a toy day. I'm not going to sell you anything. I'm giving you something. And it's, if you don't want to hear a message, again, I want to say this one more time. You just click off. But if you want to hear something inspirational, then please stay tuned, because you're going to get hopefully something pretty awesome here today. I think so. I hope. Hope I do. And so today we're going to be talking about a memory verse that I initially learned. It has to be now 40 years ago. Oh my gosh. 40 years ago, when I was about 20, 23, 24. So about 34 years ago. I was stationed in Virginia Beach, and I attended a church called the Full Gospel Holiness Church. And they gave away these Treasure's Path to Soul Winning. And it was basically a memorization book. And I have one left. Actually, you can go online and buy these. I think they're like $5 a piece. And the first scripture that you had to memorize was James 4:14. And it says here, so James 14 is, whereas you know not what shall be on the morrow, for what is your life? It is even a vapor, but appeareth for a little time and then vanisheth away. And that's in the King James Version. And so that's my scripture verse for today. And we're going to be looking at other scriptures, and we're going to be doing a journey through history, a time travel. As my classmates know, that I like to tell stories, take us through time, take us through space. So that we get a big picture of what's going on Earth right now, which to me is a clear example of how man has no idea what he's doing. And so let's look at James 4:14. Now I'm reading it in the New King James Version. You might have a different version. If you have comments, you can send them to my wife. She's going to be taking our comments, and she's going to relate the messages to me. I'll kind of break while she's taking the messages and relate them if I can. All right. So, because we're just doing this, I'm not a professional news broadcaster, so we're just going to have to wing it. Now, I am a professional toy salesman, but I'm not going to go there today. So, let's get into the scriptures. So, make sure you have your Bible open. And you get a pen and paper, because I'm going to be sending a lot of rabbit trails. So Marilyn out there, and Joanne, I got her name right? Joanne and Marilyn, and Robert And
Sister Rebecca is on.
And Sister Rebecca's on. Okay, so James 4:14. Let's get into this. It says, "Now, come now, you who say today or tomorrow we will go to such and such a city and spend a year there, buy and sell and make a profit." So James is saying, you know what? We've got all these plans we're going to do. We're going to do this tomorrow. We're going to do that tomorrow. We've got everything set. Well, you know what? There was a certain basketball player that was going to do just that earlier this year. He was going to go here and he was going to go there. Okay? There's one thing that man cannot change. He does not know what tomorrow is going to bring. I don't care if you're the richest man on earth, you Bill Gates, Warren Buffett, any man on earth. He can predict what he's going to do. He can maybe think he knows what he's going to do, but tomorrow is not written until it's written. We are that insignificant to the whole picture. But it's what we do to our fellow man is the key. That is all it's about. It really is. So they're going to go and buy and sell. Whereas you not, so then he goes into, now here's where it starts in 14. Whereas you know not what will happen tomorrow. For what is your life? What is your life? It is even a vapor that appeareth for a little time and then vanishes away. That's one thing about a vapor. Smoke, steam, it is there and it is gone. You know, it's funny, we were riding home. Now here's a story. So Joanne's going to love this. She loves my stories, and she can't talk to my wife right now because she's having to sit home with her husband. But I love telling stories, how I relate things to the majesty of God. We were driving home a couple days ago. We went to dinner. We took the camper because we have this nice Class C RV, and I wanted to go camping right now, one time actually, but I can't, obviously. Anyways, we went to Longhorn, and we pulled into Longhorn, and we ordered, and they were really nice. They brought us our food out to the camper. It was awesome. It was really fun. It was a lot of fun. Well, anyways, we were driving home. Now, on the way there, the winds were terrible. And driving that camper, my camper was being boom, boom. Oh, my gosh. So we got there, and on our way back, we were driving east, okay, and there was a huge cloud. I mean, it was almost like a tree trunk. It just kind of went straight up, okay? And it was as high as you could. And then as I got closer to it, or as I was driving, and then I started driving south, getting into Wayne or closer to Wayne, it started to almost disappear. It was like there for a minute, huge cloud, and then it was all gone. And that's the way life is. It appeareth for a little time and then vanishes away. Instead, you ought to say, if the Lord wills, we will live and do this and that. But now you boast in your ignorance. All such boasting is evil. See, there's one thing, and I find this really kind of interesting, that a lot of the media people, it almost seems like they want to stay hunkered because they're afraid. See, I'm not afraid. Okay, there's one thing that I am not afraid of death. Okay, I have lived. I'm only 60. I've done everything that I've wanted to do in life or tried to do in life. Okay, I've done everything that I've wanted to do in life. Okay, now there's one thing that I have not obtained. I didn't want to become president, but I don't think that's going to happen. Okay, so I mean, I've had 3 stores. I've done radio. I mean, I've done a lot of things that I wanted to do. It's all about, you had a vision and do it. Okay, and I've done that vision. Okay, so if the Lord wills, we will live and do this and that. But now you boast in your ignorance. All such boasting is evil. Therefore, to him who knows to do good and does not, it is sin. See, there's a lot of people that want to do good, but they just don't do it. Okay? I mean, the greatest commandment is to love thy brother with all thy heart, with all thy soul, with all thy. I mean, that is the greatest command. What can we do for others? So, what is your life? Well, I'm going to tell you. I'm going to take you to a time. We're gonna go back in time. Now, this is my belief. Okay, and there are some other Christians that believe this. Some theologians, not a lot, but this is my belief. Okay, of the pre-world before the flood. It says, what is your life? Well, there was an earth before the flood. Now, there's some Christian science, and I've said this before in our classes, there are some Christian scientists believe that there were as many as maybe 6 billion people, maybe 5 billion people that lived on the earth before the flood. They had set their sights. We can do this. We can do that. There's one thing that's very interesting, and that is that all that we do, there is another power that can change everything. Do you realize what has happened over the last month? I mean, really, it's kind of amazing. I've been thinking about this in my head of all that I mean, so back in December, I went to 2 trade shows. And then in January, I went to Atlanta, which was the largest trade show. And then I went to Las Vegas. Then I went to New Orleans in February the 14th. And then I came back and then went to New York Toy Fair on New York City. That's February 26th. And then everything shut down. The whole world shut down. Okay? Isn't it amazing how he gets our attention? See, this is what I'm talking about, is the flood. So the pre-world flood, they had set themselves into this high. Is there anything left of that civilization? No. Now, there are remnants. There are some monoliths that you can see, and scientists will debate on, well, that's just Egyptian artifact. Oh, well, I don't know about that. I don't know if they could do that. Or that's Roman. But there's a debate, okay, on that civilization that is gone. See, man thinks that he is in the control. There's one thing that's shown us over the last month. Man is not in control. We have control over nothing. Global warming, all this. It is almost laughable to think that man is in control. We can do this and say that and try to do this, but the vapor, it comes and it goes. The vapor. Now let's move to Proverbs 27, because this is another scripture that deals with what God is saying about our lives. It's kind of funny of doing this without having people in front of me. Rebecca, blessing and Easter's. Welcome, Rebecca. Okay, Flintlock, good morning. Happy Easter. Thank you. Okay, so we are getting comments. That's good. Thank you. Okay, so in Proverbs 27:1, he says, do not boast for tomorrow, for you do not know what a day may bring forth. We have no idea what's going to be tomorrow. I'm sure, and I'm sure Kobe Bryant, he was going along his day. That was his day. He got into his helicopter. He was going to do his whatever he was going to do. Now, I'm not saying he's boasting or anything. It's just what I'm showing is that you have no idea what tomorrow is going to bring. I have no idea what tomorrow. I could get up tomorrow and I could be driving and boom, get hit. I could get up. I might not get up tomorrow morning. I might fall asleep and that's my last sleep. We do not know what will be on tomorrow. Let another man praise you, not your own mouth. A stranger has not his own lips. We have to understand that this is not our own life. We should be doing all that we can for others. Each his own ability, okay? We are not all carpenters. We are not all plumbers. We are not all seamstress. We are not all builders, and we all have our own talent. And you need to understand your talent, okay? What is your talent, okay? Now, when I was younger, when I first got saved, I spent my whole life in the church. I did Bible studies. I did youth things. I did it till we got married. After we got married, we took 23 kids camping the day after we got married. Okay, and then I forgot the camper too, so we had to sleep in this kind of a rinky-dink camp building. But your life is, you can look at it saying, well, I just can't do anything. My life is just. Make your life. There are many people out there that need help, that need a inspirational message. Because I'll tell you right now, the world is not inspirational. I'm always laughing at, you'll hear these media people and all these in the books or anything, they'll write, well, the world would be better without God. Okay? That without religion, everything would be wonderful. Really? Okay, so let me just give you some examples of how that is folly. Okay?
I got a question if I can put in your scriptures type in your scriptures.
Yeah. What's that?
Type in your scriptures if I can do that, but I don't.
Yeah. Oh. All right, hold on a second. Proverbs. Hold on a second, PRO.
You list them all, type them.
Yeah, Proverbs 27:1 and James 4:14. So, getting back to without a world without God, okay? If you go to most, just go to Netflix, for example, and just see how many dark, amoral shows are on TV, okay? Just dark and amoral. They don't have any positive message to them at all. It's either drugs, death, horror, crime, nothing, hardly any of it is inspirational, okay? And most of it doesn't have any positive message. But then you go, and so they'll say, well, the world would be great without God. And I've said this in our class, and on all the class members that are watching, I've said this, that, and I don't watch it anymore. I watched the first season, and that was it. I said, I don't want to live in a world. I don't want to live in a world like that. But if you watch The Walking Dead, okay, that show is the most depressing show. There is no uplifting. There is no redeeming values. There's no hope that anything will get any better. And I'm saying, and Christianity and God is put into a negative light. If you think that is the way I don't want any part of that. Believe me, I don't want any part of that. But when things get rough, what's happening? What's happening to this world right now? You're seeing the best of man, really, in a lot of aspects. Now there is bad. You're always going to have bad, but you're gonna see a lot. There's a lot of good, a lot of good. Okay. Life is a puzzle. You know, it's funny. So we took the kids, and I don't have the exact quote with me in front of me because it was. So we took the kids on a walk yesterday, 3 miles, because I used to walk 3 miles every day, but my brother came over one weekend and said, "Oh, we don't have to get up this morning. Let's not walk this morning." And then the next morning, we don't need to. And then I quit walking. That was like 5-6 years ago. So I decided to take a walk. So we took our 3 mile walk around Wayne, and we walked in, and on that journey is the cemetery in which Kimberly is buried in, and on the back of her tombstone, it was basically her quote about her life, that God, basically God knew her before her womb. He knew her destiny and her past and everything. And in a sense, life is like a puzzle. We don't know where all the pieces of our life are going to connect. Okay? We don't know exactly where that piece is going to. And when we look at this piece in our lives, we look at it and say, where is that going to take us? It's like my brother. He had his path and everything, and right now he's in a different path. He doesn't know where he's going to go in that path. And I pray every day that he sees that path, and I think he does. He's got a really strong heart for helping people. He does love to help people. He's going to work for this people for disabled people. The disability. Teaching them art and everything, because he's great at art, but sometimes he gets frustrated. And everybody in our life, everybody that we know sometimes gets frustrated. We don't know where is this. It's like when you're doing a puzzle, you're saying to yourself, where is that puzzle going to go? Or that piece? Where is that piece? I can't find that piece. Why can't I find that piece? Where does that go? And you get frustrated and you're worried. You're saying, what? Just give up. And you can't, because life is a puzzle. We don't know. I mean, James 4:14. Let's look at that one more time. It says, whereas you do not know what will be tomorrow. Well, you have no idea. I have no idea what's going to be. I planned to go camping this summer. I had planned to go to Ocean Lake Campground in Myrtle Beach in June. I don't know if we're going to go. I had planned to go camping at the end of the summer. Who knows? Everything is up in air right now. Can we add one day to our lives? You got all these people with millions of dollars. Can they add one day? No, they can't. Let's look at another scripture that deals with life and its futility in the whole scheme of things. And that's in Isaiah 46. So Isaiah 46. Isaiah 46. I hope everybody's enjoying today's lesson from home. I'm sorry that we have to be at home. I don't want to get into why I don't believe in any of this, but I guess I have to. Okay. So Isaiah 46, remember. Okay, so this is God. Okay, he's talking to Isaiah. It says, remember the former things of old. Just remember the things that have gone by. Okay? And this is another thing I've told all my class members that it's in the class, and Marilyn and Joanne and Becky and everybody, and Dallas and Rita. I've told everybody the same thing year after year after class after class. Okay? Things do not change. Nothing's new under the sun. Nothing is new. Do you know how many people died from World War II? 40, almost 80 million died from World War II. 80 million. What now? 80 million died from World War II. The mud floods, a lot of mud floods happened in the 1800s. Thousands died. Thousands died. So it says, so in Isaiah 46, 9 and 10, remember the former things of old, for I am God and there is no other. There is no other. Now, you might not believe. You might be watching this. You might not believe in God. That's fine. I respect that, and I respect that I believe. That's all we ask, is that you respect that. And you might not believe. There will become a time when I was in high school. I didn't believe. I mocked my mom. I didn't believe in God. I mocked her all the time. And coming home from school, or I was in the house, you believe in your God, huh? That's kind of funny, Mom. You know, as I'm mocking her and everything. I didn't want to believe in that. I am God. There is none like me. Declaring, now this is important, declaring the end from the beginning. See, man can say all that he wants. Bill Gates can say that he wants to limit population on Earth, and that there are too many people on Earth. You know, they want to say all this, okay? But they have no idea what God has got in store. They don't. They really don't. So 10, it says, for I am God, there is none like, declaring the end from the beginning, and from the ancient times things that are not yet done, saying, my counsel shall stand. My counsel shall stand, and I will do all my pleasure. And I will do all my pleasure. He will do all of his pleasure. He will do all of his pleasure. I'll tell you one thing, this whole thing that's going on right now, it really shows how insignificant man really is. How insignificant he really is. We are nothing. I've written this before and I've said this a lot. We are nothing but just a pebble on the beach. Go to a beach. Pick up one little speck. Just pick it up, one little speck, put it on your hand. And then look at the rest of the beach. We are a vapor. Appears for a little time and then vanishes away. Now, are we important to God in God's eyes? Oh, oh yeah. That's the whole amazing thing of it. That is the amazing thing of it. And I bring this up a lot because it's a part of our life now. You know, it's a part of who Kathy and I have been over the last 6 years. You know, we basically brought in 4 new people into our lives. 4 people that honestly needed saving, and the growth of their lives were so important that there are thousands of them in Ohio alone. That is my focus until I die right now, until they graduate high school. That's my mission. I've chosen that mission. You are different. Everybody has a different calling. You might not be that person that can adopt 4 children. Okay? Sometimes I'm wondering if I'm that person. But you know, I gotta deal with it. Okay? You have to find out what is your spark in your life to help to help man. Because there is a lot of people that have a lot of money and that are doing a lot of dumb things with it. You know, I mean, some of these politicians that spent, one politician spent $600 million to just run ads? Where could that have money been spent really toward man? I mean, really, honestly, building orphanages, getting kids that are out of these. Another statistic that I found out recently is that I don't know if it was 800,000 or 80,000 kids went missing in the United States last year. I don't know if that's exactly, but I was watching this report of how many children have been gone missing in the United States, and the amount is staggering. I'm thinking, where are all these children going? Let's go to my favorite chapter. Who can tell? Let me get a question from our audience. Who can tell me what is my favorite chapter in the Bible? I'll give you time to think about it. What is my favorite chapter in the Bible? To me, it's the most important chapter of the Bible, in my opinion. Now, everybody's got their own opinion. So who can tell me what my favorite chapter in the Bible is? No answer yet. That's fine. That's fine. That's fine. I'll give you guys a second here to come up with that answer. Joanne, you should know that. If Joanne's watching, Marilyn, you should know that too. If Marilyn's watching, I don't think she's on answering questions. But I'll tell you, it's Romans chapter 1.
Lincoln just put in Romans 1.
Yeah. Yep, Romans 1. Lincoln he's my youngest of my oldest sons. Yes, Romans 1. Why? Read it and you'll know why. So I'm going to read you a portion because this is exactly where we are right now. Now, I'm not saying that this isn't how we were 100 years ago, but I'm just saying that this is where we are right now. So verse 21, because although they knew God, they did not glorify him as God, nor were thankful, but became futile in their thoughts, and their foolish hearts were darkened. Professing to be wise, they became fools, and changing the glory of the incorruptible God into an image made of corruptible man and birds and four-footed animals and creepy things. Therefore God gave them up to their uncleanness and the lust of their hearts, to dishonor their bodies among themselves. The whole chapter 1 is an compass of man. And where are you going to put on that side of the fence? Okay? Where are you on that fence? Are you for life? Are you for man and all that you can do for humanity, for your brother that is in need? Are you on that side? Is that your direction that you're walking, or are you on that side that you professing to be wise, they became fools? Because later on in Romans there are clear examples of what has been wrong in man over, I could give you a couple hundred years. Okay, it's like I keep telling in the class, nothing is new under the sun. Okay, we just live in today. We live in today. We live in our world. Sorry about that. I need to get on, my throat was dry. We live in the world that has been given us. And 100 years ago, we don't know how, or almost 80 years, well, no, it's been about 70 years. 70 years since World War II. We don't know how it was in World War II. It was hard. How the whole world was at war. The whole world was at war. I mean, every part of the world was fighting or producing something to win the battle. We forgot that. We don't have any concept of that. because we haven't had a world war like that. This, it's not like World War II, but it's encompassing the entire world, okay? Which is very unique. So the next question is, life is a puzzle. Can we add a day? Can we gain time before the end? Can we add one more day? God, give me one more day. I just need more time to do what I'm doing. I need to go here and there. I need one more day to do it. I need more time to do it. What will your life be? Life. What is it? It's a vapor. What will your life be? Some of you might be in your 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s. I know Dorothy's in her 80s. Ruth is, I don't know where Ruth is. I won't say. I don't know where everybody is. But what is your next journey? Every night, God, what is your next journey in my life? What's my next journey that I need to walk? Okay? That's what you need to be thinking and asking God every day. Now, in Romans 1:18, I did read that Romans 1:18. The wrath of God is revealed from the heaven against the ungodly and unrighteous of men who suppress the truth for unrighteousness. It is amazing how good is evil and evil is good. But that's not any different than it was back in Romans when Paul wrote this. Okay? I mean, you had the group that was chanting, give us Barabbas, take Jesus and crucify him. We don't need him. But give us the criminal Barabbas. No different. That's man then, man now. But how has Christianity really affected man over the last 2,000 years? I think to the positive. Where did all these hospitals come from? Christian churches. I don't see Muslim church hospitals, but every one of them, most of them are Christian churches that created school or hospitals and schools. God is revealed from heaven against all ungodliness. Do they not know what they are doing? Does man even know what he is doing? No, he doesn't. He doesn't, I don't even think he wants to know because he's set so much in himself. You know, I'm watching a lot of these videos of all these movie stars. They've like hunkered. See, I really think that they're fearful. Okay? They're paranoid. All right? Because, you know, they live in this little bubble that they have. And so now they're bunkered home because they don't want to catch this virus. Oh. And watch some of these videos of everybody, of some of these stars. I mean, I don't want to say it's comical, but it's you have no hope. You have no hope. And there is a hope. There is a hope. For as you know not what shall be on the morrow, for what is your life? It is even a vapor, that it appeareth for a little time and then vanisheth away. And that's the whole key, that it vanisheth away. Our life is but a vapor. Does anybody else on earth know who Ralph Bauer was? Does anybody know who Dixie Bowers was? How many of the youth nowadays knew who Teddy Roosevelt was? Or for that matter, George Washington? Or Samuel Adams? Or Benedict Arnold? Who knows who knew some of the, I could throw out 100 names. Do you know any of them? No. But we live in today. We live in what I will do time frame. What is God going to do for me? No, it's not what God's going to do for you. It's what you're going to do for your other man, for your other man, for the other person that needs help. That is the key. That is the key. What is your life? Life, what is it? Life is a puzzle. Can we add one day? Can we gain time before the end? What will your life be? How will we answer God? Because that's what it is how we answer God. See, I believe that there is a God, that he sent his son, Jesus Christ, on earth to die on Calvary. I believe that. I believe it 100%. And for those that do not believe that, I have no anger, no animosity. I don't have any negative thought. Because one day in this vapor of a life, you're going to come to that point. Is this it? The galaxy, all of its majesty, the creation of man, the operation of the hand, without even touching it, my mind is moving the hand. All the blood vessels, the skin, the hair follicles, everything that creates man is an amazing, it's just amazing. It's not a machine, it's just amazing. And this is just I'm just one aspect of it. The tree, how the tree goes through a cycle every year, it blooms, it sprouts its seedlings and they spratter and the cycle of life starts over. You look out in the sky, the billions of stars, and you look even further, there's even more billions of stars in the sky. And you're telling me I'm just here as a chance? That I just kind of crawled up as an amoeba? No, I'm sorry. I honestly, I don't believe that. I don't. There is a coming one day that is going to be so glorious that we're all going to be amazed. We're all going to be amazed. And that's what I hope you all have a great Easter Sunday, that you worship in your own way. You ask God to give you direction, that He gives you insight and tolerance for what's going on right now. And I want to thank you for attending my podcast for Sunday for the Bridge Fellowship. That's our church, is the Bridge Fellowship. I'm Bryan Young. I do a Bible study every Sunday at the Bridge Fellowship when it's open. And at the end of my sermons, I always do a Bryan's Brain. And you might say to yourselves, what's a Bryan's Brain? That's a good question. Because if you ever got into my brain, you might not get out. Bryan's Brain is a take on how I think of things and how I perceive things. And I go into, electricity, just different things that have happened. And so I was watching I watched a series on the History Channel called Men That Made America, which was out about 4 or 5 years ago, and now they've done a new one called Food That Made America. And I got these bug bites that are bothering me, and they did a episode on Heinz, the Kellogg brothers, and Coca-Cola and Hershey's chocolate. And the Heinz ketchup was really amazing because Heinz, you know, was really a different name. The ketchup was a different name. It was ketchup or something. It wasn't really the word ketchup, but it was close to. And it had all these different flavors because they used ketchup. They'd use ketchup to put onto tainted meat back in the 1800s because obviously you didn't have great facilities to keep meat in good condition, especially in the cities. And so you would put this sauce on the meat to cover the taste. It's just gross. And so Heinz basically developed a way and developed ketchup, the Heinz 57 ketchup. And what's really amazing, here's a man, and he had a very religious background, but that's kind of forgotten nowadays. They want to kind of push all the Christian the Christian history of these men out. But basically, he was the first person to build a factory in Pittsburgh, I think it's Pittsburgh, that was completely all electricity, facility, heated, everything for his employees that they could work. Plus, he built an entire town. He provided homes for his workers, not tenement homes like in the coal industry where you'd always be indebted servant to the company. But he provided living accommodations for all his workers and providing electricity, lights, because a lot of these factories, you basically were in groups just thrown into no non-sanitary conditions. And that's how Heinz started, okay? Helping his fellow man. And there are a lot of philanthropists back then. What is it? How do you pronounce that word? Philanthropists. That were out there that did a lot, okay? Nowadays, you got these Bill Gates Foundation. What do they do? What are they doing? They're basically Agenda 21, which is pollution or population control, global warming. That has nothing to do with helping the people in South Africa. You know what people in South Africa need, or in Africa need, number one? They need electricity, which they don't want. They don't want, see, the modern people, or the global warming, they don't want any electricity in Africa, because that means more to them pollution or greenhouse effects. So what do all those people? They starve to death. And that's what people in Africa need. They need roads, plumbing, they need electricity, they need things to improve their lives. And that's exactly what Heinz did. And that's not only Heinz, but Hershey's did the same thing. He provided them housing accommodation, a complete town. He built a complete town. And during the Depression, he didn't lay off any of his workers, and his workers striked because they thought they were being taken care of. Here's during the Depression, he kept his employees working, okay, and he thought he was taking advantage of them. I'm telling you, it's about man taking care of your fellow brother. Anyways, that's Bryan's Brain. I hope you guys enjoyed this. If you're not a religious person, please at least give it thumbs up, or don't not like it. At least give it a like. Give it thumbs up. Subscribe if you're subscribing. And normally I don't do this. This is not a normal. And we just wanted to let you know that we did this because of the corona. I call it the crony virus, crony 19. Why we have to do this, we have to stay at home for no apparent reason. Let me tell you a story before I go, because this is the absolute truth. And nobody wants to talk about it, so I'm going to. This is absolutely the truth. And if you hear anything else different, it's not the truth. I'm just telling you right now. Back in November, about the end of November, I went to the Smoky Mountain Gift Show, one of the largest gift shows in Tennessee, down in Gatlinburg, Sevierville, and Shireville, Gatlin, Pigeon Forge. There were 3 conventions. Over 30,000 people attended those shows. There were a lot of Chinese that came from China to set up their pavilions because a lot of stuff is made in China. Then after that show, I went to the largest trade show in the world for amusement parks. It's called IAAPA. And that show is in December 12th through the 14th, I think it was. And that's in Orlando, Florida. Over 30,000 vendors, that means people that manufacture items for an amusement park, were there. Over 50,000 people attended it. We all were crammed into one giant building for 5 days. There were giant pavilions from the Chinese because they were selling everything that they make in China. That's where it started. That was one of the hotbeds that started. Then all those people from all over the United States went home. I went home. And then at the end of December, my wife got desperately sick, a respiratory problem. Her oxygen level was low. The doctors wanted to keep her into the hospital. And we were going to church every day, unfortunately spreading the Corona-19 back in December. Back in January. Then she got really sick in December. At Christmas Day, she was just terrible. Then she got better. She came back. I then had a sore throat all of January, February. I didn't know what it was. Then she told me that's one of the symptoms, is a light sore throat. Then I went to 3 more trade shows, the ones I told you about. People, I'm just trying to tell you, this thing has been in the United States since November of last year. Since November of last year. And we have to pray for each person, ask God's guidance and direction. But we're going to get through this. He's got well controlled. Well controlled. Well controlled. I want to thank you. God bless. Thank you and have a great day. And thank you in Jesus' name. Goodbye.